All right, y'all, what's up? This is Uncle P from Super Easy Forex, and this is going to be a video. I told you guys what I'm going to start doing is providing you with a combination video on Sundays, and so this is one that's going to be very important for your trading week to kind of give you heads up on what's going on in the markets, exactly what news events I'm looking at that's going to be important that I think that we need to be paying attention to as fellow traders. And then also just a quick review of what our signal service provided last week. And we'll do that quickly, get that out the way. Last week we had 12 wins, only one loss, one break even, and we're still holding 4 trades over the weekend. And I'll kind of explain what I saw in the markets last week. But in Miss Jenny's group, in the scalping group, they did over 8,404 pips for last week. So it was another, as usual, amazing trading week. And you can always join us right here. Here's the website, superezforex.com/signal-service, or on our main website, superezforex.com. There's a button right there where you can join the advanced membership group. Excuse me. For the signal service, okay? All right, let's move on to something else, which, by the way, I really wanted to say thank you to Mr. Elvis and Miss Jenny and Miss Donna. This service is really helping people to put money in their pockets. So it's not just signals. It's really a lot of times people are struggling in their personal life. They don't have time to trade or to learn how to trade and stuff like that. And this economy is killing people's pockets. It really is. And so I like what we're doing. We're literally helping people to put real money into their pockets. So again, if that's you, you're struggling, you need a way to make a little extra money, but you don't have time to trade, this might be a good solution for you. Okay. All right, let's move forward with the next thing. So this week on the economic calendar, here's what I'm paying attention to. First of all, let me go and show you exactly what to do. One of the things now, I use the app on my phone because it's much faster and much easier, but you can also do this from your website, and there's many different websites that offer this. So this is just one that I look to, but find out whichever one you like. My Forex Factory is one. There's, tons and tons of places to have it, but here we go. I'm going to use the one I like, and that's myfxbook.com. Okay, and I'll click right here. See on the original site, myfxbook. Okay. And then right here, you don't have to sign up for anything. You just go right here to home, and then you can go right here to the economic calendar. Okay. Now, what's neat about this is they have a section here where you can just see what news events were yesterday, this, that, and the other. And if this pops up, just click right here, click out of it. I like to click on this week. And what's cool, you can even click here and get some of the news events that's already scheduled for next week. But I just want to know what's happening this week. And when do I do this? I typically like to do it on Sunday before the markets open, so I have a kind of clear head on exactly what's coming up on the week ahead, okay? Because if it's actually then happened already, it's a little too late. Which, by the way, let me say this right off the top. Some of you traders who argued with me and said price action is king, which I believe price action has. It can't be king because you're taking action on a price, right? So the price have to be doing something and then you take an action on it. So I do think that price action is important, but I do not believe it's king. This is just my opinion. You can argue with it, but here's what happened. A lot of you guys who are looking at your support and resistance levels, your supply and demand zones, and all these other things that you typically use, last week when news came out on the US, it blew up all of that. And so a lot of people who don't pay attention to what I'm trying to share with you were left holding, scratching their heads, wondering what in the freaking heck just happened in the markets. How many times had that happened to you? You entered the trade and you said, what the freak happened, just? Man, is it like the markets attack me as soon as I place a trade? And it will feel like that. The truth of the matter is that sometimes your timing is off, okay? Because you just took a trade right before there was a news event. And this happens to all of us. And I will explain why as we're going along. But it happens to all of us. But one of the things that I like to do is I like to know what news events are coming up so that if I'm trading a particular currency pair, then I know to stay away from that one until the news event has passed. Now, what's surprising is that some of these news events, which are typically and historically not that big of a deal, they're turned out to be pretty important. Okay, so I'll talk about that as we're going along. So this week, and pay attention because I'm going to show you an example, okay, because some stuff is coming up this week that you need to know about, okay? So they're talking about inflation. Here's the news for USD inflation rate. See, it's rated low, Okay, not that important. Some of these are going to be rated medium and so forth and so forth. The first ones that typically catch my eye is going to be the high ones. Okay, but that does not mean to discount the mediums, because lately the mediums been having some pretty important impact on the markets as well. Okay, so I know that this is for the AUD, and let me show you this. Some of you guys who are new to this, you say, well, I don't know what this stuff means. Well, one of the things you can do is click on it, and it will actually show you a little bit of information about it. If you still don't understand, what you can do is just copy. Okay, you can just copy some of this. Like what I did here, I copied what is service PMI. Okay, I'll just copy that. And some of your web services, they will allow you to right click and do a search right here. Okay, so what I did was, and I already did that, as you can see right here, and it took me and I went right here. I said, so what is service PMI? And basically it's a survey where they send out a survey to about 300 or 400 businesses, private businesses, to get a gist of their purchasing power and other things. Basically what it does, it gives them a general, to investors and banks and institutions, it gives them a general idea of the strength of what's going on with the economy and wherever country they are in, as far as the purchasing, because that's what it stands for, Purchasing Manufacturing Index. Okay, so it lets them know, is there a lot of goods and services flowing in between, and this is just my idea about it in a simplistic form, or how much goods and services are you guys doing, because that kind of gives us a window into what's going on in the overall economy. Okay, so they don't go to your typical corner market store or your grandma's bakery. They go to these major institutions, contact them, say, hey, what's popping off? You guys looking good? Or you not? And so they give back a report on the surveys, doing a survey saying, hey, you know, our numbers are down and this and that, and it gives a reflection of the overall index of what's happening in the markets, okay, in that country. Okay, so that's what that, in my personal opinion, stands for. Now, is this something that is typically earth-shaking in the trade when you're trading? No, but sometimes, depending on how weak the numbers are, it could do a quick blip or spike. Okay, so it's just good to know that this is coming up. And on the mobile app, I like it better because it will actually count down the hours and time. Like, and this one does too, as you can see. The closer to the time, if it's more than 24 hours, it'll just say in a day or two or 4 days from now, whatever. But if it's within the same day, so you can see it'll give you a time counter to let you know, hey, it's in a couple hours. Okay, so you might want to just be aware of that. Let's scroll down and go to some more. So you see the Euro's doing the same thing. The GBP, the Great British Pound, is doing the same thing. They're announcing those numbers. And here goes the US. Now, I will tell you this, very important. Out of all the ones that's going to be making that announcement, the one that's going to be most important, in my opinion, is not the others. It's going to be what? The US dollar. Why? The US? Why? Because the US dollar is currently accepted worldwide. So anything that happens to the US dollar is going to also happen and affect other countries who are trading using the dollar. Okay, I forgot my camera is on motion sensor, so when I'm moving, you know, it does that thing. So sorry about that. So that's basically why it's doing that. That's why I think that when it announces its strength, it will have greater impact. For an example, last week when they came out, I think it was just job numbers or whatever it was. Typically, it's okay. It's not NFP or anything like that. I forgot what news event it was. I wish I can pull up the one where it shows last week, but I won't waste your time on that. But it was just a normal event. But that's what moved the entire market on the U.S. dollar, and that thing just climbed. Now, I will tell you why, in my opinion. Typically, the news event on, if it's not NFP, non-farm payroll, which, you know, is a huge event typically, but just normal, hey, unemployment numbers and this and that, it's really not that big of a deal. It's a blip, but then it goes away when you're trading, right? And you can hop in the trade afterwards and just ride it. But why was it so important? Well, here's the reason why. Every bit of economic data is leading up to something big for the U.S., okay? Because the Feds have consistently been raising interest rates over the last several months, talking about fighting inflation. I don't know if you feel like inflation is going down because of their efforts, but, you know, that's what they claim, right? Okay, so here's the point. The point is that every bit of information is being used to determine whether they're going to continue to raise interest rates or not. Okay, so this week, and we're going to go over that. That's the reason why, for my people who say price action is king. Okay, well, what happened with your price action last week? Right? Because it blew right through all these barriers. It just blew up the market. All these markets were just shaking and going crazy last week. Here's the reason why. Because you have to learn how the banks and institutions are connecting the dots, and they're trying to go with the direction of where the Feds are going. Here's what I mean. If the Feds continue to raise interest rates, or there's a possibility that the Feds are going to be raising interest rates, then guess what happens? People will buy up the dollar. If there's an indication that the Feds are not going to raise interest rates or lower interest rates, then the dollar actually declines in value. Okay. So that's the reason why these economic numbers from the U.S. makes a big difference between the ones announced in other countries, because their announcement only affects their country. But when you have a global dominance with your currency and something comes out with yours, it affects every country that uses your currency, okay, which is currently the dollar. All right. So let's look at something that I am paying attention to this week. Now, this is going to be something that may, because this tells you the strength of the companies running within the U.S. That's what this is. Okay. Purchasing, manufacturing, which, by the way, we purchase everything. We make very little here in this country. So in my opinion, these other countries, yeah, that's cool. Pay attention to it. But this one, to me, is going to be important, because it's going to say how much purchasing power have we been doing? How much purchasing have we been doing? Okay. We're not great at exporting. We're great at buying everybody's stuff, right? Crazy. So other countries are making a ton of money off of our. Well, let me leave that alone. Let me leave that alone. Okay, let's keep it moving. New home sales is going to be a little something important, because it's going to talk about how many people are buying homes. Now, here's the important. I'll tell you this in advance. I don't think that this is going to be all that important or great. Here's the reason why. Because when Feds raise interest rates, do you feel like buying a house? Do you feel like buying a car? Think about it. Just several months ago, or a year ago, you could have bought a house with 2% interest rate. Now they're raising it to 6 and 7% on the interest rates. And then you slap on your credit score and see what you got. Man, you're looking at possibly 7 or 8%. Are you happy about buying a house? No. So therefore, I don't think that the new home sales are going to look that great. But that's just my opinion. That's why I hopped into the house that we're in now at the time when I did, because we locked in on our interest rate. And, at a decent interest rate. And that was important, because I didn't want to pay high interest rate on a home, because it eats into my profit margins. Okay. Moving on to the next thing. Now, here's what's going to be important as well. Durable goods and services, transportation in the stock market. One of the big key indicators in the stock market is how much are we transporting? Truck drivers, how much goods and services are you moving in and out of this country? Okay, transportation is one of the leading indicators to show the strength or the decline of a country, because it's the physical movement of goods and services in and out of the country. So what does this mean thus far to you as a Forex trader? Why am I explaining this? Simply because if you're in a trade or you're about to trade, it's just good to know how close are these major events coming up prior to you placing that trade, because if it comes out, and which we don't know, that's the problem. That's the reason why a lot of times you'll see that the market goes in a freeze frame mode where it's barely any movement or anything else. What that is saying is that the banks and institutions are the ones who are refusing to take a trade right now, because they don't even know. So if the major banks and institutions are not dependent on price action is king, and they're choosing to wait on an announcement before they make their move of investment of millions of dollars into trades, into currencies, well, who are us as retail traders to think that we can, go past all of this? Say, oh man, I'm going to do my thing. Why? Because price action is king. And then you keep blowing up your freaking accounts. Well, keep doing you. Okay. You don't have to know what all of this stuff means. You don't have to know. You just need to know that something's coming up. So when you look at this and you say, I don't have a clue what transportation, Uncle Pete, thanks for sharing and teaching. But truth is, if I was doing this myself, I wouldn't have a clue. The great news is you don't have to know. All you need to see is this says what? High alert. So if you're about, and this is 2 days away. Okay. So that means on the 24th, when the timer like this here, when it starts giving you that timer, when it gets close to that time, tighten up your belt if you're in one of these trades. That's all it means. Just be careful. Okay? Just be careful. You don't have to know what this stuff means. Half this stuff I don't even know. Okay? It's hard to know all this stuff. In case if you never went to school for economics and this and that and da 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 da, it's kind of tough to figure out what all this is. And again, you can do a simple Google search, but who want to do that for every little thing you're doing? You don't have to, okay? But just know that right around this time, I need to just be careful. So if I'm in a profitable trade, I might want to lock down some profit. If I'm thinking about entering into a trade, I might want to hold off until the news event has passed. If there's no movement on it, then there was no impact on your trade. You can hop right in it anyway if you weren't seeing a great setup. But the good news is, if something popped off and it starts shooting crazy, you'll be grateful that you watched this video and paid attention to what I said. You can avoid a lot of losses just by simply saying, hey, I don't know what this means, but hey, if it says high alert, then okay, that's fine with me. In other words, let me give it to you like this. It is stupid for you to be sitting in a movie theater and then everybody's running out because they think there's a fire. And you're the only stupid one sitting there in the chair talking about, well, I don't see no fire. Okay, but everybody else ran out. Okay, then sit there and burn your butt up then. Because you the one who's stubborn, got to see everything before, okay, well, do you, but the other people are safe. So a lot of banks and institutions, they like to trade safely. Why? Because they're managing millions of other people's dollars. So they can't just leap into something saying, well, I know there's a news event, but I've marked up my charts now. Okay, well, cool. Do you think they do that, or is that a retail trader move? All right, then, let's stop doing the dumb retail trader move. Unless you're an expert and you kind of understand the markets, we do have some people who are very good in our group who knows how to trade the news and keep it moving in the right direction. They know what to look for. But if that's not you, then stop playing around. All right, let's move on to the next ones. All right, here's some more. This is New Zealand. Again, this is the retail numbers. I don't expect nothing big out of that, to be honest with you. Okay, now here's what's important. The Jackson Hole. Okay, this is where the think tank is going to be happening concerning what the Feds are potentially going to be doing coming up. And this is going to be big because the entire global market is going to be wondering what is going to be the Fed's next move. Again, if this pops up, just click right here to continue there. Okay, continue on. So this is where the Fed board is going to be coming together to try to figure out what their next move is. Okay, and this is going to be happening several days this week. So is it going to be something that will impact the trading market right away? No. But I will tell you this. I see this climate stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now this may have an impact. Why? Going back to the what? Jackson Hole. They're making a determination on whether they should raise interest rates or not. And all of that has to do with the manufacturing, transportation, employment numbers. Everything is sensitive because it can lean the judgment of the Feds one way or the other. So that's the reason why these numbers, which typically they are a little blip, but then they go away. This time it is kind of impactful because there's a lot on the line. Okay, a lot on the line as far as whether the Feds are going to continue to raise interest rates or not. So all these big institutions and so forth are looking for key indicators to try to get an advanced idea of where the Feds possibly will go. Okay, so that's why you got to be careful this go round. Okay. So just be careful when you're trading these. So these may, and this ain't even NFP. Now you have the growth rate. Okay. So I don't pay attention to that, to be honest. So you have another day of Jackson Hole. Here's the last but not least. You got personal income. It's high, but I don't think nothing of it. Good trade balance. You might want to pay attention, but here's the key right here, right here. Now I'm going to tell you guys ahead of time. For those who are patient to listen to this video all the way to this point, I want to say something to you. Pay attention to what I'm saying. I would not be surprised that as closely as we're getting to, what day is this? Friday. Okay, Friday. See? Friday. August 26th, Friday. The closer we get to this date, the market may slow down. Okay? Now, I'm just saying it may. It could just run like normal. But the closer it gets to this discussion, because this whole Jackson Hole discussion, at the end of the day, they're going to wait and see what Fed Chairman Powell comes out saying, what the synopsis of that meeting was. Is he going to have statements that kind of lean towards them potentially raising interest rates or not? That is going to be the big boom at the end of the week, in my personal opinion. So the good news is it's coming out when? On Friday. Most of the traders are done trading by Friday anyway. So by the time he comes out and start yapping his jawbones, you shouldn't really be in the market anyway, or you should be wrapping up some trades unless you're a swing trader. Okay. But other than that, that would be it. See right here, they'll be wrapping up the Jackson Hole meeting, and here's Fed Chairman Powell. So Friday to me is going to be one of the biggest ones, because all these other economic numbers for the U.S. is potentially going to lean towards what their conclusion may be as far as Fed interest rates. Okay, so that's Uncle P. That's my spiel for the week.
Power off.
Oh, sorry, that's my speaker turning off. I hope this video was helpful for you trading. And for those who are in my group, we had called, and by the way, for those who's in the Simplicity group, how many times have we saw some setups? I called it out and them things played out perfectly and put money in your pocket. Now, we're not a group if you're in the Simplicity system. Okay, and what I mean is, let me go there so you can kind of see this. Okay. Let's go here. All right. So once you join, okay, once you click on the join button, for those who's not in the group, once you join, this is a one-time fee. Okay. You don't have to pay anything after that, but it comes with live classes. It comes with all that kind of stuff. Every week, and we've been doing free classes every week, me and Miss Jenny, for the last couple of years. So you get the trading system, but you also get a class that's at no additional cost. How many times over the last several weeks, my students have we been calling trades in class and they play it out and put money in your pocket? Why? Because you're learning what to look for and the time to look for it. Okay, that's what we're good at. So if that's you and you want to join a group and be in a classroom setting with the rest of us, be able to talk with me personally or Miss Jenny when we're doing our live sessions, then go ahead and click on the join button, and I'll see you in class this coming week. Everybody else who's in the Signals group, I expect that we're still going to have another smashing good week, and I will see you next on Tuesday for those who was in the Simplicity group. Have a great trading week.